First ride. First time. Ready? Okay. So I stalled it. Because the kickstand was down. Oh my god, you'd think I'd learned my lesson by now. This is the 2025 Speed Twin 1200 RS by Triumph. And it is, it's quite a looker. In here is Triumph Columbia River, the kind folks who are lending me this bike for half a day to take a ride and see whether it's the bike of my dreams or I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to be the bike of my dreams, but we're going to find out shortly. At the end of the video, stay tuned and I will answer a bunch of questions that y'all sent in to me when I told you that I was going to be taking this bike for a ride. Let's go for a first ride type thing on this beautiful, stunningly gorgeous Speed Twin 1200 RS. To say I'm looking forward to taking this motorcycle for a ride is a little bit understating. I am dying to ride this thing. It is hotness. Hotness. And that orange is either my favorite color in the world or my second favorite color, only second to the yellow of my Scrambler 900. So, all that aside, now I gotta figure out where the hell I'm going. Right. Okay. Off we go. I hope that... Oh, jeez. Okay. The pegs are not where they normally are. How do I describe this? Okay, it's beautiful, obviously. But it's either uncomfortable and not my thing or the most comfortable bike I've ever ridden. I haven't decided yet. Let's talk about very, very first impressions. I'm absolutely flat-footing it, so that's nice. I'm 5'10". I've got like a 30-inch inseam or so, somewhere around there. So I will say that the standover is pretty... Oh, God. Okay. Wow. All right. Okay. Oh, Jesus. All right. I'm in road mode, and what am I in, third gear, and I just kind of gave it a little of beans, and boy, it wanted to say how's it going. So the standover height is actually kind of perfect. It's not too low where you feel like you're on a cruiser, but it's high enough where you feel like you're sitting up a little bit over the traffic, and it's a nice place to be. I will say that. The dash, we're going to talk about the dash because I know that this is a huge point of contention for a lot of the Speed Twin freaks. Wow. It's so nimble. This does not feel like a 1200. One of the questions I know that I'm going to answer later is how does this compare to the T120? And yeah, it doesn't. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of minutes to just enjoy this bike and get used to it. And then I'm going to come back when I'm out of the traffic and out of the strip mall hill and start talking like a real person instead of whatever the hell I'm doing. I gotta find the directionals. Okay. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. I've had a chance to ride this thing now for about 15 minutes, and I'm just about to get on the road that I'm trying to get on that's going to take me to a beautiful place to ride. My first initial impression of this motorcycle is I can't afford it. I don't mean the sticker price, which is about $16,000. I'm not saying I have $16,000 just lying around. I'm just saying I can't afford it because I know that I would end up with 1,000 speeding tickets if I owned this motorcycle because, oh my God, I haven't even put it in sport mode yet. And it's fast and it's nimble and it's fun. I really like it. The seating position, a lot of people are thinking that it's too hunched over and the pegs are too high and too far back and stuff. I find it absolutely, completely comfortable. if I'm qualified to comment on one thing, it's numb hands. My hands will go numb if you look at them funny. And after 15 minutes of riding, I can tell you, so far, no problems at all. You barely have any weight on your hands when you're riding this. Even though you're a little bit more hunched over and a little bit more sporty, it doesn't have the negative effects that you would think. Look at this though. Look at that color. Damn it, that might be my favorite color in the world. I want a helmet that color. Anyway, let's rock this thing down the twisties into the little gorge that we're going to go into down in Estacada, Oregon, on our way to Ripplebrook. I'm going to put this sweet motorcycle into sport mode, and I'm going to respect to the fact that it's still in its braking period, so I'm not going to go crazy or anything like that. If you're one of the 6 people that watched my video about motorcycle exhausts, I said that one of the things I would immediately do when I bought a new bike is swap out the exhaust. I'm going to backtrack on that a little bit because I think the exhaust on this bike suits it kind of perfectly. It's got this low rumble. It's not overly loud, but it's not like super quiet. It actually sounds really nice. Quality, throaty sound. So I might wait a couple of days before I swap the exhaust out on this, if I bought one. Anyway, alright, so let's talk about a couple of things. Again, on the seating position and the overall comfort, I am finding this bike to be actually super, super comfortable. I was really expecting by this point to really be feeling it in my back and especially my hands, but there's really nothing going on up here as far as too much pressure on my hands. It's just, I don't know, I can't describe it except that I'm not putting any weight on my hands. I guess that's the best way to describe it. The seat itself, yeah, it's not as cushy as my Scramble 900, but it's perfectly comfortable. You know what? This bike has plenty of power, but surprisingly it's not ripping my arms off. Now, if I put it in 5th gear, 3,500 RPMs or so, 36, 37, I don't know. 5th gear, 66 miles an hour. When I crank this, now again, I'm going to try to be respectful and not crank the living shit out of this bike, but let's get back up to 66 or so. When I crank this, I should feel it in my bones. I feel it. Oh god, okay. There it is. Found it. Okay, this bike is fast. You know me, it's rare that I'm at a loss for words, but I'm kind of at a loss for words. The one thing I'll tell you about this bike is it's one of those bikes that when you get on it and you turn it on and you throw it in 1st gear and you go, there's practically no learning curve. It's not like it feels so different from other bikes, or it's got, I don't know, some weird quirk to it that you have to get used to. It's everything that you would expect in a motorcycle, right? It's familiar. And I don't say that in a bad way at all. I say it actually as a huge compliment that they were able to pack so much into a bike and make it feel so, I don't know, sort of at home. What the hell am I talking about? Let's tear this thing out. No. Yeah. Yeah, this is the kind of bike that makes you want to ride fast. Not aggressive. Maybe that's what it is. It's so nice and refined, yet it's retaining some character, and you want to tear shit up, but not so much that you're driving like an asshole, that you're just out to have fun. If you're out to have fun and not be a total dick, this might be the bike. Triumph, you can use that. It used to be for the ride or whatever, but now it's, if you're not trying to be a dick, this is the bike for you. Triumph. I'm having this weird thing where it doesn't feel like there's a lot in front of me on this bike, and it's taking me a bit to get used to that because I'm coming off of, well, the Tiger, you know, it's like driving a small apartment, and the Scrambler just, it seems to have a little bit more going on up front, like there's more to the front. This is like, I feel like I lean forward and I'm over the road, which is kind of awesome. It just takes a bit of getting used to. So does this quick shifter. Okay. Man, I just want to tear it up on this bike. And I'm not normally a tear it up guy. I mean, I have my moments. I've torn shit up. Don't get me wrong. I've not really ever torn shit up. Alright, so we're on Oregon 224 East. And in 25 miles, we will arrive at a little store in this little town. It's not even a town, I don't even know what it's called, but a little place called Ripplebrook, where I'm going to meet some friends. And then we're going to go tear shit up. No. I mean, maybe. Oh, hot damn, yes. The fit and finish on this bike is kind of amazing. I don't know if you can see the headlight bezel, but it's like shiny, I don't know, brushed aluminum or something? I don't know what it is, but it's fucking gorgeous. The switchgear seems nice. Maybe not as nice as, like, the Tiger 900. I'm just saying looks. Functionality-wise, I haven't really messed with it. I don't really plan to. It doesn't have heated grips as far as I can tell, which is kind of a bummer. And I'm not sure if it has cruise control. I don't know. I'm not going to mess with it. But I don't see like a cruise control button. Am I missing it? You know, on a bike like this, I'm not sure you want cruise control. That said, it's one of those things that would prevent me from taking it across the country, per se. Not that I'm, you know, thinking about buying this bike and taking it across country. That'd be ridiculous. But no heated grips and no cruise control. Those are two things that would need to be rectified before I'd even consider probably taking this on a very long road trip. As I get older, heated grips become more and more important. It's not just like a luxury anymore. It's a necessity, especially since I ride 12 months out of the year. And that raises another question. If I own this bike, this would not be I'm going to take it out 12 months out of the year type of bike. This would be a nice weather, dry road bike. I don't know if I showed you the tires on this thing, but they're sports tires. Sports tires! There's no tread on them whatsoever. They're basically slicks. So I can't even imagine what it would be like to ride with these tires on wet pavement. So I'm not going to try. And he says that as he comes up to wet pavement. Oh God, we're going to crash! It was fine. So I guess I would ride on wet pavement. So here's the thing. This is a 1200cc, I don't know, 470-ish pound motorcycle. I think I have all of the specs in a notebook on my hip. But it thing feels like it's about 6 pounds. Once you get it moving, there's no weight to it whatsoever. It's endlessly flickable. I feel so high up, way higher up than I thought I would ever be on this bike. And for me, like I said, that's a huge bonus. I like being higher up. I don't like being down close to the ground because I feel like I'm more hidden. I feel pretty exposed up here, yet I'm hunched over enough where I don't feel like I'm totally dragging wind. I'm not so hunched over at all that it's uncomfortable. And we're approaching my first speeding ticket, I'm sure of it. But oh my God,
this bike is insanely awesome. This is one of those bikes where you get on it at first and you're like, ah, it's nice, but it's nothing special. And then you take it, and every mile you're like, okay, I get it. Oh, I get it now. Oh, there it is. I get it now. Oh, I get it. Let's talk about retro stuff for a minute. Now, one of the big complaints on this motorcycle, the 2025 Speed Twin 1200, is that it's got this digital gauge instead of the two analog clocks that I guess it used to have. I had two analog clocks on my T120. And when I first made a video about my T120, I said that's like one of my most favorite things about the motorcycle is those twin clocks. And it was. They were beautiful. They were clock-like. However, this motorcycle that I am sitting on right now is a thoroughly modern sport bike. Naked sport bike, let's be clear. And even though it's got some retro styling, we gotta get beyond sticking with something just because it's classic looking and retro when there's something better. Now, I don't know if I think that this dash is better than having twin clocks, but I don't think it's worse. I think I prefer it. I don't mind having some information in front of me. I don't want to be overloaded. I don't want to have technology begging for my attention. But this is pretty calm. It's two colors. They're nice. It's not flashy. It's got a nice gear indicator. It's the three things I care about: RPM, speed, and gear indicator. None of it's obtrusive. None of it's obnoxious. It's just there, and it's kind of nice looking. So I'm fine with that. I think one of the reasons why I sort of fell out of love a little bit with the T120 was because it was trying too hard to be a retro classic, or whatever the hell the term is. A bike like this has just enough retro styling, but it's modern where it needs to be. And that's the perfect mix to me. Let's not do retro classic or whatever the hell just for the sake of doing it, just because there's some bikes on the market. There's a Royal Enfield bike, I won't mention what it is or whatever, but when I look at it I say, what in the living hell is that thing? It looks like it was plunked from the 40s or something, from the war. And I get it, but like, we're not in the war anymore. Stop! This bike is, for me, the looks and the styling is the perfect mix between let's keep it old school looking, but let's not put old school shit on it just to make it old school looking. Right? I don't know. I'm gonna shut up and just ride this fucker. Oh, mother of God, yes. Alright, let's try the brakes. Oh, Jesus. The brakes work. The brakes work just fine, okay? Alright, so what I want to try now is... I want to tell you about the quick shifter. I want to show you what the quick shifter is like just in normal riding, because it's a little twitchy, but everyone knows this already about this bike, because the quick shifter is really made for tearing shit up. So, I'm going to get going. Okay. And then let's see how it's a little jolty, and then going into third is okay, and then going into fourth is you can't even feel it. Going into fifth, it's like you didn't even do it. So going from first to second will make you pucker a little bit, but you get used to it, I think, or just not do it, you know, because you still have a clutch. They didn't take the clutch away. You don't have to pay per use on the clutch, so you get that going for you. Oh, mother of Jesus. Yeah, and so if you're riding a little bit more aggressively and you use the quick shifter down, you know, like first to second, second to third, it works much better. So that's a good excuse to ride aggressively. No, I don't know.
So a few weeks back, I posted on the channel asking if anyone had any questions about the Speed Twin 1200 RS, and that I would answer them during this first ride review type thing. So let's take a look. Craig asks, I know this model has a more aggressive riding position. How bad is it? Is it a position you can ride comfortably for a couple hours to half a day? Absolutely. I have no problems with the riding position on this bike. It's just as comfortable, if not more, than any other bike I've ridden. I know it gets a bad rap for the low handlebars and the pegs being back and everything, but I don't know. I have zero problem with it. It's totally comfy to me. Mike Kemp asks, I'm interested in the comfort of one of these on an all-day ride. Man, those look good. Yeah, again, I've been on it for a couple hours now. I can't imagine that after a couple more hours I would be in any sort of particular pain. That, I don't know. I just don't think it's an issue. But I could be wrong. Gordon Henderson, 1708, asks, I can only think of one question for you, Bug. When will it be yours in your garage? If one is able, ride what you love, right? Yeah, it's an interesting question. I do like this motorcycle a lot. I'm gonna have to think on all of this as to whether I would actually buy it. Looking forward to review. Paul Guile 46 says, I found the Speed Triple RS very focused with pin sharp handling. Maybe this one might be a bit more relaxed and hopefully just as flickable through the twisties. Flickable as hell. Now, I don't have a lot of experience on super sport bikes or anything like that, but I wouldn't want anything more flickable and agile and nimble than this motorcycle. It's fantastic. Is it expensive to fix? How are parts hard to find? Says Dallas Dan Digital Production 393. I can't imagine that it's any more expensive than any other Triumph. I mean, it's a Speed Twin, and they've been making them for quite a while. There's nothing special about this bike. It's not like a new bike or anything. So I don't know. I'll tell you, on my triple, my Tiger 900 Rally Pro is a triple, and that's going to need its 12,000 mile service coming up in a few thousand miles, and that's probably going to cost me about $1,700. I'm just throwing that out there. Captain JV asks, can it be an everyday bike, and how versatile can it be? This could absolutely be an everyday bike. The only thing that would detract it from being an everyday bike would be the fact that it's got slicks on it. So I wouldn't feel particularly comfortable about riding this in a rainstorm. But, tires are swappable, so you could put more road bias tires on it if you wanted to. And, yeah, there's nothing about this motorcycle that would make it inappropriate for day-to-day riding or even a commuter. As long as the seating position is okay with you. I'm not saying it's like a normal seating position. I'm just saying it's not uncomfortable at all. And being up a little bit, you can see over traffic. You're seen in traffic. I think it would make a great everyday bike. Is the Speed Twin a factory cafe racer? Bonnie, how better the new dashboard is than the previous one, says Ibanez Bazo. The first question, is it a factory cafe racer, Bonnie? Sort of, no. It's not a Thruxton, let's put it that way. I would not call it a cafe racer, but it's more about styling than anything. It's not a cafe racer. Is the new dashboard better than the previous one? If the previous one is like the T120, it's not better or worse, it's just completely different, right? We've gone from 2 analog clocks to 1 basically digital clock. I know that, like I said, a lot of people aren't going to be a big fan of that. For me, it's time to let go of the analog double clock thing. I'm fine with a little bit more modern take on that. Chillrider 33. I was contemplating getting the 2024 model to preserve the dual clocks. The new gauge kills the retro look and feel of the bike. Yeah, for some it does, and I totally get that. Like, I absolutely respect that. For me, it wouldn't be a deal breaker. That's all I'm saying. First Paintball Master says, how close is it in feel to the Scrambler? The Tiger to the Scrambler is totally different. These seem like they're much closer together. Yeah. The overall sort of look and feel, very similar. This one does have a different riding position. Obviously, this is a 1200 versus my Scrambler is a 900, so It's got that going for it. This is a 6-speed as opposed to my Scrambler, which is a 5-speed, and I really love the 5-speed on the Scrambler. I will say I really love the 6-speed on this bike, on this Speed Twin. It's the ratios are perfect for. I always find that on some 6-speeds, the first gear is useless, the second gear is pretty much useless, blah blah blah. This one, it's all completely perfectly spaced out. It's great. Okay. Frantic Nomad says, "Oh my god, I would absolutely love to test this one. Would love your opinion on peg position. Too sporty far back. Good compromise between the Scrambler and a sport bike. Is the RS really worth the extra $2,500 from base model?" Okay, here's where the pegs are. Let's see if I get the camera position properly enough to show you what this looks like. So this is the riding position. This is where your feet are on the pegs. So you can see they are further back than I would expect, but they're not so far back that they're uncomfortable or foreign feeling or anything like that. They're I don't know, they give you a little sporty feel. If that's what you're into, I like it. Also, I tested this out on the way back. You can, in fact, stand on here if you wanted to. You just got to make sure your heel doesn't touch the exhaust pipe. This isn't a standing bike. You're not going to want to stand on it. I'm just throwing that out there. You could if you wanted to. Right then. So, a ham like me says, how is the gearing at faster highway speeds? 80 miles an hour for hours on end is not uncommon in the Midwest. Is it buzzy? Is it sitting close to redline? Or is it smooth cruise at all at these speeds? It's smooth cruise. The one thing is, it's kind of funny. I haven't spent a whole lot of time in 6th gear at all. Like, 6th gear really is kind of like, get there when you need it, when you're in the 70 to 80 miles an hour. This thing will cruise in pretty much any gear you throw it in all day long and be happy, and it's not going to complain. And it's never vibey, and it's not like screaming. It's sweet. That's my technical answer. Nemesis XV11, I don't read Roman numerals, I'm sorry, says, would love to see how you find it compares to the T120. The T120 compared to this is, it feels bigger, it feels more lush, I don't know. It doesn't feel nearly as nimble. The one major difference that I found, the T120 to me felt really jerky in first and second gear when you're doing around city riding. There was something about it that was sort of just jerky. Never really loved it. I haven't noticed that at all in this bike. This bike is super smooth. Obviously, it's a little bit more modern looking and a little bit more, I don't know if it's more premium. Maybe. It's got probably better shocks than my T120 had. It's definitely got a different set of instrument buttons and all that shit. Of course, it's got the digital clock instead of the 2 analog clocks. It just feels smaller, sportier, and more nimble, and less trying too hard to be a retro classic, which I've already talked about. Retro modern classic, whatever the hell it's called, I don't know. It's trying less hard to be that, which I appreciate. So I think that's all the questions for now. I don't know that I have a whole lot more to add, except this is a really truly sweet bike that's not trying too hard to be anything in particular, except for a classy, well-built, fast and nimble, but not too fast, not too sporty, naked sport bike that I would like to have in my garage. It's one of those things. I'm not head over heels for it, but you know, I still got another 40 miles before I have to drop it off at the dealership, so that could all change. Would I buy it? Yeah, yeah, I absolutely would. This. The only thing about it is, if you keep it in its current configuration where it's got these slicky, racy type tires on it, which you want on a naked sport bike, let's face it, it sort of limits what you can do with it as far as, you know, you're not going to tour on it, you're not going to take it out in a rainstorm. You might, I don't know, I wouldn't. It's, you know, it's not a touring adventure bike. It's a Sunday, let's go blast through the canyons and hit the twisties and have a shitload of fun. And if you only have one bike and you have to use it as a commuter, it'll do that too. That's what it comes down to, really. I like it. I think Triumph really knocked it out of the park. Triumph usually does do some, you know, spark knocking, so it's par for the course. Anyway, I gotta get this thing back. I'm getting new tires on my Scrambler today, and so I need to get this back. I'm dying to see what the new tires are all about on the Scrambler, and I'm sweating my last nut off, so I'm gonna go.
Anyway, that's the Triumph Speed Twin 1200 RS. If you like this video, then I'd love it if you subscribe to my channel. And or click that like button. I would click yours, is all I'm saying. Catch you on the next one.